Hey guys. Sup, everyone? G'day. Chirpy was in early. Is Chirpy back? I haven't seen Chirpy again. Miss Chirpy. Oh no, Chirpy's there. Awesome. Chirpy's back. We've been talking about you, Chirpy. Hey Chris. Kevin, Machine NZ. G'day. Tommy Gun. Saw a preview of a TMC 2020 video on Tommy Gun's channel. Pretty excited to see that. See how you go. Trying to beat that one, but it looks like fun. Can't wait to see it. Who else is there? Mike from Cornwall. Good day. Joseph Durder. Good day. This camera really, I'm gonna have to do something about live stream. The focus goes in and out when I scroll through the messages. Sorry, Gary C. Good day. I'm gonna say thank you to you, Gary. I sent you an email. I hope you got it. Big thanks. Digger Op's got a cat issue. Chirpy's got too much going on. Get better, Chirp. That's what's important. Hey, John. Someone actually noticed. Last day at best. That's not good, Craig. Hey, Ted. Good to see you. Maddie, g'day. You're free for now, Ted. And someone noticed that my logo's upside down. That happens fairly regularly. It's the first time I think anyone's even noticed. If you look back through my old videos, there's quite a few that have the logo upside down. That's just something that happens. So I'm glad someone noticed, though. Chirpy got his sand mulled over. Good on you guys for locking the place down, though, and not getting any more new cases. I hope it stays like that. John Creasy, g'day. My microwave's going beep because I forgot to open the door before I started. I didn't realise how late it was. Craig's got a new toy coming. That's pretty exciting. I'm on a bit of a different angle here at the moment because I'm trying something new. I'm probably going to rebuild my camera gantry at some time in amongst all my other thousands of projects. There's too many projects and I really don't know what to do about getting on top of them except get in and do some work and not look at catalogues and books for new ones. We're trying. Very trying. TMC 2020, you got a month left. Shaper, the new machinist camera tripod, Chirpy says. That's right. Spot on. It's not moving. So, yeah, I'm trying not to. But TMC 2020, you've got a month left. Is the 1st of July, the end of the month. It's finished. That's it. It's over. Get your entries in because some of the best ones I think are still coming. Some of the best ones are still coming, I think, and there's going to be some good videos. So put your best into it. Really can't wait to see the ones that are still coming. But seriously, pretty excited to to see what ends up. Another month. You can do the 20 minutes. Any of you can do the 20 minutes. 10, that's easy. 20-minute limit's easy. It's not anywhere near of a struggle as some of the last ones have been, some of the previous competitions. That's an easy rule. Is 20 minutes easy rule. Just cut out all the stuff that you skip over anyway when you watch it back. Sit down, watch a video, work out where you fast forward it, cut all that out, and you've got a 20-minute video. Job's done. Alistair's got some trimming to do. Yeah, I've got a video sitting there that I haven't done anything about, which is the chuck backplate video, the start of it. And that's about 2 hours of footage, and I really need to edit it right back down because it's only about 10 minutes worth of watching, I reckon. John keeps checking his microwave. Sorry about that. So you've got a month left. There's going to be some cool stuff coming. See, Alistair and Tommy have got theirs on the way. They're the guys to beat. And there's some pretty cool new stuff coming in too. There was a couple of videos in the playlist. Excellent to see. This weekend, what did I do? I messed around. That's what I did. I messed around, machined this new piston. Look at that. How nice is that? There it goes again. Sorry, I'll talk over it. It won't stop. Gadget pin. Piston. I think it's okay fit. I think it's all right. I think it's where it needs to be. New video I'm making this piston, or machining this piston from solid, on Patreon. You should check it out. There's also a video on casting this one, which was the prototype. I'll give you some idea. Don't know if this camera mount system's working or not here, but that's how much different it is, really. There's a fair bit of meat come off it. But that looks pretty good. I was going to take that out of the chuck and show you. Hang on. Too late now. It's not going back in. This is the jig for machining the piston. This was in the 4-jaw chuck. And that's clamps it down with the gudgeon pin on that seat, and that's how the outside of the piston's machined. Little tight. I'm just a bit nervous about pushing it through because I'm trying to keep that nice and clean. I don't think it's tight. It's probably a fairly easy job to run a hone through it if it is tight or it seizes up, but at this point I don't think it's too tight. Not a mechanic, mind, but I'd appreciate any feedback on that. Rings is going to be what. Chirpy's probably right. You don't need to worry about expansion. Joseph is, yeah, appreciate your input. It could be a bit tight. I'm going to get some rings on it, and I'm going to get a Conrod's probably next, which is this piece, which is actually broken. The 3D printed one, JB printed. That clears everywhere, so we know that it's going to work, except it's got to have a bit of space. Mike, rings are cast iron. Rings will tighten it up. Yeah. I'm probably going to take a bit more out of the cylinder. We'll see. It might need a bit more of a clean up. That's probably, it's going to have the hone through it and back out again at some point, and a clean up and a wash up before I make rings. But I don't think it's too bad. I don't think it's going to bind. How much ring gap do we use? 2 parts of FA, really. Not very much, to be honest. On this, I'm guessing the thou. Something like that. Very little. 4 thou per inch. A couple of thou, maybe is 1.5 inches. I don't know if that applies to models under a certain size. I'm not really sure. I'm probably going to go with minimum couple of thou and warm the end of the piston up and see if it actually seizes, and if it does, give it a bit more. That's about where I'm at, but compression is paramount. So anyway, I think iron rings, and probably there's plenty of oil around the thing, so it probably could be a bit looser than that. I really want compression though with this, because I know that without compression it's never going to run. This conrod had some issues, and JB printed this and drew it up from the drawings. And the drawings have got issues, I've discovered. We've got a drawing problem. And it's probably not what's on the drawings is wrong. It's what's not on the drawings is missed out. If that makes any sense. What we've got. Sorry. What we've got is a conrod that sort of almost doesn't quite touch there, but it's had a fair bit off one side. If we put this up this way, there's the problem. Put this in here so you can see it. So that's the issue. I believe that we can move these screws inboard enough so that we can make this short enough so that it clears here. That's what I'm hoping. We're going to try that first, and if it doesn't, we'll set up a fly cutter and cut a bit out of the bottom here. But where we run into problems is that this is about 4 millimeters thick in the bottom here, like this surface here, and the issue with it is that if it goes any thinner, you get a hard spot in the casting, because the iron shield's trying to run in there, or it doesn't run in there at all. And when I scaled it down, it probably could have done with being a little bit thinner than this, so that that doesn't touch. But when I look at the drawings, the original general arrangement drawing, and get the dividers out, it's exactly the same. And I think that the conrod that's drawn in the drawings is going to touch on the bottom in the drawing as well if you turn the crank round. So I'm going to try and bring these inboard a couple of millimeters. I think we can do that. I don't know if you can see that. I think there's room to move this in 2 millimeters on each side, and that shortens these up a couple of millimeters and should give us enough clearance to go past there. Take care, Chirp. Okay, I'll open the microwave door. Sorry. Is everyone happy now? Happy New Year, JB. Blessed be. Anyway, fixed. Anyway, that's where we're at with that. And the next thing, I think I'm going to fabricate this probably. We'll see how we go with that. But at this point, I've had dinner. That's just a cup of coffee, which I'll have later. At this point, I'm going to fabricate this out of bronze, I think. Just a piece there and silver solder this on the end here. I think it's going to be good enough. That's probably the nice way to do it. Don't know. We'll see how we go with that. But I need this pretty well straight away next week. So we might get on and get that in there. Peter Norman, good to see. G'day. Nigel, g'day. Good to see you. So that sticks out there about that much on the back. At the back, and this rod clears here and here at the top and the bottom, which I'm really happy with. And it's got about compressions about there, something like that. So by the time we get a shoulder on the head to go inside here, about 4 or 5 millimeters, 3/16 of an inch, and some valve opening, that's probably not going to be too bad at all there. Pretty pleased with that. What's the stroke on the engine? 2 1/4, I think. 2 and it might be 2 1/2. Yeah, 2 1/2, I think. Mike, you're playing with fire. I've worked out what colour it is. It's a surprise. And it's not green. So this is going to need some sort of a guard on it, right? Never ever had it originally. I'd like to put a sheet metal guard on here because it's a fairly easy thing to get your fingers caught in, and then you're in trouble. If your finger gets caught in under here or in under here, it's going to take it off. Like it's a scary, dangerous thing. There's a bit of weight in it. So I'm going to put a... Good to see you, Chris. Have fun at work. Thanks for dropping in. Joseph, I'm thinking probably just a flat sheet of metal around here. Something like that up here and then around there like that, and then back on here, probably with a nice pinstripe on it. That's what I'm thinking for a guard. That's about all it's going to get. Guard will spoil it. Yeah, I know, but it'll spoil my fingers a lot quicker, the rotten thing. It's even just clicking it over by hand now, if you get your fingers caught in it, you're going to get a bruise and probably a missing fingernail. So once it's going, it's going to be dangerous. Got to fix that. There's no doubt about that. So, speaking of green, I got some books today. Go create. Thanks for the shout out during the week. That's awesome. Thanks to the awesome video on the axle boxes. Mine aren't anywhere near that complicated, the ones I'm making. They're going to be a block of bronze with a hole in them. Sorry. But yeah, keep my fingers out. That's the answer. TE Publishing have been shut for a month or so, 3 months or so in England. Mail order company, I'm not sure why they're shut, but apparently they have been. And I ordered some books off them when they opened, but these have been a while coming. This is a... Gosh, can we even see that? Can we... Yeah, that might be better. There we go, that's better. There we go. This is a copy of a 1910 or 1906, 1907 A section list for Stuart Turner engineers. There were 2 lists, and this is A section, which is the main one, and I think there was a supplement as well. It's a facsimile, but there's a lot of really cool stuff in here that we don't see anymore, that's never ever going to be reproduced, I don't think. The balanced version of the Stuart number 1 is the number 4, big engine. And the even bigger Stuart number 5, which you never ever see. And the vertical number 7, which is a nice size engine. It's a pity they don't make some of these. Anyway, the number 8 and the number 9. There's the number 9. John Creasy's got a kit for one of those. We expect to see him building it before long, making a full video series. And compounds and stuff. But anyway, it's not all that particularly interesting until we get over here. Fancy being able to buy this thing. The Avery multipolar machine, which is Stuart Avery. This really isn't the answer here. I'm going to try and get some space, some height here. That looks better. There we go. Well, Joseph, I'm a heap smart, but I know that there's a lot of places in this engine that are going to get you off guard, and especially something that's running. It's a pretty scary thing. There's a lot more weight in this than anything else I've ever built, so it will take your finger off, I think. And I'm a bit more cautious than I used to be, maybe too. But anyway, these dynamos Stuart used to make, the turn of the century until the sort of the First World War. This undertype Stuart Avery dynamo. How cool are these? Ted, this will do about 450, I reckon. If that, 400, 450. dynamo castings, 20 volt 4 amp dynamo. This would be very nice coupled to this, or this one even would be very, very nice. 8 volt 2 amp dynamo at 1100 revs. If anyone has any information about either of these Stewart models, which have not been available since 1915 probably, if anyone knows anything about them or has any information or a set of drawings or anything else, or even better, sees a set of castings on eBay, let me know, someone. Let me know in good time, and I'll do a bit of trying to get hold of them. So there we go. I have all my fingers left. Look, I have all my fingers. You don't want to see my hands. My nails are dirty because I've been messing around with dirty old guys' watches all day. Stewart's found the pedals for the lathe. Awesome. Awesome. Does one people need? One people needs 10 at least. Mike, go make it. I would hate to have to buy a set of castings for this. Now, I don't think there's actually a triple here. There's a very nice twin there that looks like it's probably a compound. And that's coupled to a dynamo too. But I rather fancy this would be nice coupled to this. But anyway. There's a Henry Greenley tank locomotive that Stewart also sold castings and parts for. There you go. That's Great Northern Railway locomotive too, that an Atlantic that they sold castings and parts for. Also first class dynamos. How cool are they? Output in watts. Number 8 dynamo is 4,000 watts at 1300 AM. Needs 6.5 horsepower. We haven't got that. 14x3 pulley on it. It weighs 1,000 pounds. And 44 pound and 30 shillings for packing. So don't think I'd like to post it, but that looks like fun. They're like full-size dynamos. There was also a kit you could buy for the same thing, and a small cap type dynamo. That's pretty cool too. I really like that. Especially commend itself to cycle dealers, electroplaters, motor garages and amateurs. That's me. The 15 volt 1.5 amp castings and materials, 25 shillings. That sounds a pretty good deal. I might write for one of those. But in reality, before the First World War, I didn't realise this, Stewart sold more actual dynamos than they did steam engines. And there's a motor kit for your lathe. You want to make an electric motor? What book's this? This is a reprint from, it's a section list of Stewart Turner, 1906. That was back when Stewart Turner made a lot of cool stuff. And there's drawings for the locomotive. Hey Abe, good to see ya. I'm trying not to become a prepper, but I feel it's inevitable if the preppers become restorers. I see Survival Lily. If anyone watches Survival Lily, who's a German girl who's had an awesome bushcraft and survival channel until the pandemic come along, and then she's kind of gone a bit spare on everyone, and she's now full-on prepper, has actually started some restoration videos. So I'm going to still yet to check that out, but I think that's the latest thing on her channel. So check out Survivor Lily. Apparently she started restoration videos. I don't know how complicated or involved they'll be, but they look fun. Good to see Aid. Matt's right. So that's a pretty cool book. That was just a sort of a packet filler because I didn't want to pay all the postage, really. The other book that come, and we looked at this a few weeks ago, the kit of castings come. This is the copies of the Model Engineer. Sorry, we're going to adjust that. Model Engineer articles from 1943, 1942, something like that. World War II. On making Bat and Owl, which were two little O-gauge inside track blackout engines, hence the names. That's going in the bookcase for a bit. Not even going to read that, but that's what I really ordered. I've got too many projects as it is. And there's a book, Steam Locomotive for O-Gauge, which is another construction series just for research. Now, who was LBSC? Really good question. LBSC. It's a pseudonym for Curly Lawrence, who wrote for Model Engineer from 1926 to 1962, something like that. If you look back through my videos, there's actually a video when I visited his house in Purley Oaks in London in 2016, something like that. He was also the guy who designed the big loco, which is over there in the background under all the junk. He designed that loco in 1935. These were a bit later, in it was the wartime. And yeah, probably the most prolific writer of Model Engineer of all time. Hey, Dennis. Gary says, really? Yeah, Gary knows. See, you should know. This is Model Engineer 101. Raymond, Manchester engines. I noticed that there's the little entablature engines been in Model Engineer recently. There's some guy on the internet actually who's messaged me about it because he's done more modern drawings and metricized the Muncaster engines. They're awesome engines, and I would probably, if I was building a big vertical high-speed steam engine, I'd build a Muncaster engine before I build a Stewart engine because I like his designs and I like his aesthetics. Muncaster made some really nice things. So anyway, that's not particularly exciting to anyone, but most of Muncaster's designs were serialized in Model Engineer from 1906 to 1909, something like that. And then it was published afterwards in a book. But I think Muncaster, for his time, he was probably actually like an actual steam mechanic because his designs are like real world industrial steam engines rather than toys. And he made some nice stuff, but it's all on the bigger side too. And of course, Nigel's line build drawings are by LBSC, but and Stuart Hingston's Evening Stars by LBSC. So he wrote a lot of serials. I'm not sure exactly how many he actually did. But there was a lot of them. $113 published designs, and probably a few that weren't published, to be honest. Because the mentions in here, when I'm reading this, today, that is interesting. Circumstance of the Night of the Blue Pencil, who was the editor of the Model Engineer, permitting, I'll follow it with Al and Miss Inky. So Bat and Al and Miss Inky. Now, Miss Inky wasn't published. I believe the design was done, but no one knows really what it was because he didn't design it. Didn't get that published. So there's a few of them, I guess, that didn't get there. 29 unpublished. Nigel's onto it. But he actually was on the payroll or on the... He was actually paid and supported by Model Engineer for many, many, many years, and wrote pages and pages and pages every week when the Model Engineer came out, no matter what. And sometimes 2 or 3 engines at a time. Probably kept him going through the war, to be honest. And LBSC Shed Shop Shed and Road is the go-to for valves and fittings and things like that. If you want basic steam fittings, that's the book to find. Anyway, there you go. That's bored everyone to death with model steam and model engineering. Everyone's wondering. I know there's like this elephant in the room. Anyway, Matty, Model Engineer started 1898 and it's still going. It's the longest continuously running periodical in Europe. Probably nearly in the world now. There you go. It comes every 2 weeks now. For a long time, up until the Second World War nearly, it came weekly. So now up until the First World War nearly, it came weekly, and a lot of the early stuff is weekly. It was a weekly paper. And it's pretty good. And it's still a good magazine, to be honest. I still get it. And I have, home in Tasmania, I'm missing some of the 30s and I'm missing some of the 20s, not as much as I was because I've been collecting them a bit too, but I have nearly all of them. But anyway, they're not up here in Queensland because I haven't got anywhere to put them, to be honest. Anyway, everyone's been asking about this elephant in the room. I'll put this down here. Matty's going to run out of tools at some point and he's going to have to make something else. PDF's all right, Tommy, but it's a real pain to read, to be honest. I've got paper copies of nearly all of them. And reproductions of some of them too. I've got an original first 2, 3, 4 years, and I've got like reprints as well, which I actually read. Now, I started this, which is a backplate for a chuck, and I cut this thread, which is pretty awesome, which is the same to within 2 thou or so. That's the same as the thread on the spindle of the lathe, which is awesome. This is what I started doing on the weekend, and Tommy thinks that I skip and change, but this is why I didn't finish it. Another thing about Model Engineer, while we're on the subject, Guy Lautard, who wrote the Bedside Readers, actually also published an index to Model Engineer magazine. If anyone gets a chance to get it, it's worth having. Absolutely worth having. And it's a yellow book, and it's about the same size as the Bedside Readers. It's the same guy, but he published that, and it's a really good index. Anyway, shush, Tom. Craig machined this backplate, which is awesome, for my new chuck. And I was going to thread it to match this, right? Which is all very well, but I've run into a problem threading it. Because if I put this in the four-jaw, I can't get the boring bar close enough and get the spindle for the threading attachment past the side of the jaw, which is a bit of a problem. I can grip it this way in the little four-jaw and do it, and then I've got about 1 millimeter to stop the end of the thread and come back in the center. So I'm not real happy to thread it, so I'm posting this off to someone who's very kindly offered to do this, and put a thread in it to match this bar, and then we can go ahead and put my new 3-jaw chuck on the lathe, which will make a big difference to things. I did make a lock collar for it. Actually got in and made that, so that'll fit there nicely when it's machined down. But we need a good thread in there, and I'm a little bit frustrated about it. But if I had this chuck to do it in that I'm setting up here, it wouldn't have been a problem. So that's the way it crumbles sometimes. Those step clamps over there, Tommy, thanks. Yeah, no progress. I've got metal sitting here. I would really like a new 3-jaw chuck to do them, to be honest, and that's where we're at with that. There's always a dozen things that need to be done before you actually do something. Yeah, I'm here. Couple of things. Hey, good to see you, Matt. This is probably a good book to get if you're an LBSC fan. I'm sure you've all got this. There's Some awesome engines in here. And no shortage of inspiration, ideas and projects if you want one, but of all different skill levels. But that's basically Brian Hollingswood wrote this book about LPSC and his, I guess his locomotives. But one of my idols, someone who had a pretty big influence on me and where I ended up. So really good book to read though. Hey Stephen. This is a reprint. If you see them in this cover, they're usually reasonable price. And usually in this cover, they've been reprinted, and this is a reprint, not rather than a bound genuine one. This is volume 1, 1898. The issue being that these copies here don't have advertisements in them, and I think that the advertisements, especially in these early ones, the advertisements are the fun, to be honest. The front covers, and this was advertisement, Thornton Packard cameras and shutters, and a built Pitler Lathe, which I would love, with the triangle bed. It's an awesome bit of kit. Love one of those. If you look at Cherry Hill's book and pictures of her workshop, she's got a pilter in her workshop in functioning condition. But she's got a Myford too, so you could say that she lives in the past a bit. Oh, that was a low blow. I'm not going to say, sorry, I should have said that. Anyway. Volume 1 was model engineer and amateur electrician, and there's a lot on not just steam locomotives and engines, but a lot on dynamos and electricity. Electrical goods, batteries, telephone bills. Make sure you're getting number 2. Scientific and X-ray apparatus, which everybody needs in their home workshop. Stevens Model Dockyard, which was an awesome store. I've got some of their catalogues there too someday. One day I might get them out on live stream if anyone's interested. But they made toys and boats. This is sort of how my workshop looks. There's Dr. J. Bradbury Winter's workshop. Obviously a treadle lathe and a vise, and it looks like a saw maybe in the background, and he's working on a loco wheel there just for show, and he's got some pigeonholes there because in a well-lit workshop all we need is that many screws and bolts. That's how that works. We all know that. Yeah, we're black and white here, except when I work in metric and then we go to colour. How to make microphones. Excellent picture, excellent article on making magnetic microphones. And a boiler there that I wouldn't trust. And a little dynamo. There's dozens of little dynamos in here. Lots about that. But there's another one. We move over. Lathe chucks, batteries, Leyden jars. How to make a telephone. Lots of cool stuff. And even the classified ads are awesome to read. But I can read these for hours. Anyway, there we go. That's Model Engineer. And it's still a pretty cool thing too. What else is happening? Gary, this is a very melodramatic thing to say, but please write me into your will. Because English mechanics are like rocking horse dung. They're almost impossible to get. Mike, where do we get those books? These are available on eBay. Most of these were reprinted, and Model Engineer still does reprints occasionally, and you can pick them up. I don't know when this one was printed. This one was 1977, these were printed. So they're still available, and they come at the right price, really. I've got a genuine first edition, or a first volume one, a genuine bound copy. It's too fragile to really mess with because it's 125 years old, something like that. Matt, look, I think we can probably ignore your US guys must be in 3D thing. We all know how you feel about that. Hey, Dave. This book is still in print, and it's been in print for a long time, and I think it's still sort of perennially popular. This is basically, it's got an index to LBC's locomotives and where to find them, and who stocks drawings and things like that. It's a pretty helpful appendix in it, and it's a pretty good yarn. But reading LBSC's writing, it's a pretty good yarn anyway. You can just sit down and read a construction series from beginning to end and enjoy it. And that's the sort of writer he was. Anyway, a bit passionate about that. Sorry, guys. His nemesis, Henry Greenlee, designed this. And we're not talking to Henry at the moment because his drawings got about 1/16 of an inch too close in the bottom here, but we've already talked about that. What else? What else is happening? I don't know if there's much happening at all. TMC 2020, we already talked about that, but we should mention it again. You've got a month left, everyone. A month left. There's been some really good videos come in. A couple of them I'm wondering whether they're winners, but I know there's still some to come. And the ones that are to come are going to be the ones that are probably going to be measured against, some of them. So if you're that person that's still making a video, or big shoes to fill, because there's been some awesome entries in the past. The time's gone really quick, Matt. You're right. Time gets away. It's only like it's beginning of July. Things get on pretty quick, really. Craig, you can do it. You're making something. If you haven't, I'm not going to hold it against you, but now I got some carbide. That's something that's happened this week. Let's have a look over here in the drawer. I meant to get that out. Have a great holiday, Gary. That sounds awesome. Don't catch anything while you're gone. So these inserts come from Banggood, an Australian warehouse. Of course you can, Mike. Now, the trouble is with Chinese carbide is you're never quite sure what you're getting. This is a bit of an issue. You don't have any real information. But if we have a look at these two that have exactly the same name, oh, can you see that? The same number. Let's see if we can focus this a bit better. Not a hope. Sorry. This one's about 0.5 millimeter higher than the other one. I don't know if you can see that. But they both got the same number for some reason. So you get a bit of a mixed bag. These are a really good insert, these. And these come from Banggood. I bought these before and these are fantastic. This one's pretty good, but probably because it's 0.5 millimeter thicker. And you've got to adjust your center height, which is a pain in the neck. But if the Chinese get off their backsides and actually make carbide with some sort of a paper trail that you can follow, they would give everyone else a run for their money. That's awesome, Stephen. Everyone's going away on holidays. That's great. Mike, yeah, totally. Everyone go and subscribe to Mike now for when it starts. Stephen says most of the Banggood inserts to be brittle. Yes, I've got some here that are really shocking, like really bad. These ones seem to be okay. And these ones here are excellent. This was the lot I got before I stopped getting, or I had trouble getting the last lot, or the first lot I got recently. Does that make any sense? No, maybe not. But these are really good, this black finish one. But yeah, go sideways, Mike. Also got these, which I've been wanting to mess around with for a while. This is solid carbide. Oh, come on, focus. Solid carbide boring bars. Sorry about that. And there's a set of those I bought. So I'm interested to try these out. So pretty excited about them. So the whole toy size insert thing hasn't yet been successfully resolved, but I cut the piston with one of these, which is the black ones, and with no problems, and there was a bit of a skin on it and a couple of hard spots and never chipped one. Matt's is right. The problem's not about getting good stuff, because occasionally you can if you buy enough of it. The problem is getting the same every time. That's the issue. It's hit and miss. You're never quite sure what you're going to get. Gary, I'm not sure what Rob has got at the moment, but I think he did see these. I think John Creasy got a set too. Stefan had a set too, but they were made by Goering, I think, in in Germany, so I can't run to that sort of thing. Oh, Mike, we're not going to. You're never ever going to be able to let the end of that. Now you've said it. It's like you've let the cat out. Now we're going to hound you until we see a video. These are Drill Pro, and these too. And Matty, you're right. I think Drill Pro is probably the answer, to be honest, when I think about it. They seem to be okay. I like high-speed steel too, but I seem to cut a lot of crappy material recently. Cast iron for pistons and tool steel and stuff like that, and high-speed steel seems to feel a bit crap. I cut this thread though with high-speed steel fairly successfully in my lathe with my threading attachment. I'm a little bit impressed about that. It's a pretty good thread. And I'll be sending this off with a back plate, and if someone can get it to fit, that'd be awesome. But fairly happy with that, and this stupid camera won't focus even a little bit. Sorry. So that was done with high-speed steel, and it's certainly the best thing. But I would like some carbide boring bars and threading tools, and boring and internal and external threading tools at some point. And I don't know if you can get them in the sort of sizes that they're useful. That's the thing. Joseph, can I use a faceplate? I have a faceplate. I have 2 faceplates. I have 3 faceplates. One's still in Germany. I think it's being sent fairly soon. Dennis is there. Buy Niagara for milling cutters because they're 1,000 times better than any of this stuff. Maybe there you go, because I've got some Niagara cutters and they're awesome. But I'd like to get a carbide threading tool, and here in Forbes, here in Australia, sell one, but it's 16 millimeters, and that's a bit big to go in my machine. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. Probably I'm going to make a dedicated thread holder and tool holder with a thread insert holder in it to do the job, and fudge something up out of probably either bought one or make something. Where do you buy Niagara cutters? Really good question in Australia. If you're interested in buying from America, Stan usually has a discount code this time of year. But US postage is ridiculous. I made the observation that the straight edges and castings, 2 little castings, this piston came, and the cylinder head, which is also a very nice casting. Like, it really is. It's top quality casting. Some fun ports in this that I'm not really looking forward to. I hope it's nice and soft. And 2 straight edges come, and it cost me $270 Australian or something to post it. Take care, Richard. Good to see you. Australian postage is nearly as ridiculous though. So the engine parts would have been probably 10%, Stephen, to be honest. This is lightweight. If we put them in a box, they probably would have been here months ago. They might have come airmail rather than surface mail. It took 2 months to get them here. Under £3 is $35 US. Yeah, see, that's 65, 70 bucks, something like that. Whereas whatever those straight edges weighed was jumped up again. It was a fair bit of dollars to get that here, but anyway. I have a Patreon page, and those guys, which is a lot of you guys actually, I could shout you all out on here because there's a lot of you actually are patrons, and I really, really, really appreciate you guys because you make things like this possible. There's no way I would have bought this set of castings. I was talking to Craig tonight on private chat and just saying that Stuart model stuff's expensive, yes. But having said that, I've probably nearly spent as much on castings for this as I would have if I'd bought a Stuart model beam engine, you know, or a serious Stuart models engine, or some other kit. Making your own castings is not the cheap way to do it, to be honest. And fabrication and stuff is cool. Make stuff out of bar stock. This is a beautiful engine, but it's been a crazy project. And if it wasn't for Patreon, I honestly wouldn't have got it this far. And they also helped me achieve a huge dream, and that's buying parts for that locomotive over there in the background, which we've actually made some progress on. So I'm disappointed with my 1910 Stuart, 1906 Stuart catalogue because this engine isn't in it, which I didn't think it would be, to be honest. It's too early for that. The catalogue's too early to show that. But if anyone ever sees this engine in a Stuart catalogue or in an advertisement when you're looking in old magazines, the Stuart 400, hit me up. Send me a picture of it. Would really, really, really appreciate it. Mr. Crispin, yes, love Mr. Crispin. Awesome channel. He should post some more stuff instead of Land Rover stuff. There's still vintage Stuart stuff available. I think John Creasy picked up recently a set of number 9 or number 7, number 9, I think, Stuart drawer or Stuart kit, and you see them come up on eBay occasionally, and you can pick them up at a little bit cheaper than new, but the older kits are much, much better, and they're worth spending the money on. So to my mind, if you have money to spend on a Stuart Models kit, buy the drawings of Stuart and look out for a second-hand kit on eBay because they come up pretty regularly at the right price. Matt's right. He repairs Land Rovers. That's his downfall. That's the curse of the English. Clip-on taillight lenses and cardboard interiors. Anyway, that's what's happening in my little world. I've been following along in videos. There's been some pretty cool videos from all you guys. Good video, really good video series from Look Creations on scraping in little straight edge, which is awesome. Mike from Cornwall is going to his promised videos. They'll be looking out for them, so please subscribe to him. Stephen Lang has got some good videos and a couple of viral ones recently. It's the clickbait titles, I think, but he's going to keep it up, I think. And you should check him out. Matty's workshop has been making tools. I can't see the end in sight because he's either going to run out of toolboxes soon or he's going to start making them too. But you should check out Matty's workshop. That's an awesome channel. That's one of my favorites. No favorites here, but is pretty awesome channel that. Craig's workshop, you should check him out. Tommy Gun Machining, who's promised and actually sent a bit of a teaser on a TMC 2020 video. You should look out for that. Aid's workshop had an awesome video on setting up angles to make little angle plates. Really cool video there. Learned a lot there. Check him out. John Creasy has a channel too. If you can get him to post stuff, it's an awesome channel. Kevin from Machine NZ, he's got a good channel and he's building actually a little hit and miss engine. Something like this, a little bit smaller, probably a lot nicer and a lot more likely to run. You should check out his channel. Dennis, Cutting Tool Designer, you should check out his channel because he's repairing and rebuilding a South Bend lathe. That's a pretty good channel. Who else? Gosh, there's a lot of you. Who have I missed? Mats Peterson put up a video. You should check out his channel. And that was entry into TMC 2020. That was awesome. Thanks, Mats. JB, you should check out JB, absolutely. JB does some pretty cool stuff. And there's the one and only, right there, I missed the one and only Nigel at Go Create. Go and check him out. It's awesome videos. He actually entered the TMC 2020, which is great. It's really good. And he's building a line locomotive in 5-inch gauge, which is a crazy big job. It's coming up nice. Check him out. There's Chirpy too. Chirpy's in and out, but Chirpy's the man. He's setting up to pour cast iron, which is a bit of an undertaking and an interesting channel. Always interesting. They've been much better this year. There has been some pretty good stuff, Stephen. Some good videos coming through, and there's some more to come. So go and check out the playlist. There's a couple of new ones I entered this week. Gosh, can someone have a look and see where the latest video was? I posted a link to it early on. There is a new video come out. Stephen might be on top of it. I had it written down and I left a bit of paper in the other room. And I'm sorry about that. But there's another pretty small channel that entered, and that's really cool. Tommy's got the link. He's onto it. So there's tough decisions, but there's some good videos. And that's what it's all about. There's some awesome prizes too, so you should really, you got to be in it to win it. And hopefully everyone who's entered has got a few views out of entering the competition. I really hope that they've had videos that have done okay. I really do, more than anything else. That's what's really important. Matty should enter twice. There's a CNC camera mount video from, oh gosh, I had these listed. Now I feel terrible. Joshua Reish, yes, is a video on the CNC camera mount build. That's a pretty cool video, and he did make the video especially for TMC, so we're down. Gary says he watches all the videos. I watch all the videos too. I try and comment on anything I watch, but if you don't get a comment, you're probably going to get one in personal chat or mention on live stream, because quite often I'm sitting on the sofa and I've got to get another device and find the video and write a comment and go back to watching the TV, which is terrible, but it's the way it is. And I imagine a lot of people are like that, so we can't really blame them. I should just get up and leave a comment. But Aid's a winner. But there's a couple more videos coming in the next couple of weeks that are going to be the ones to beat, I think. Sorry to tell you all that, but it might surprise me. But up your game. If you're going to enter a video, sit back, go back and watch it again and see what you think. And edit it or whatever. Have some fun with the editing. There's going to be some cool stuff coming, and there's some cool stuff there already, and some very, very watchable videos this year. As you may have thought or may have realized, the reasoning behind the 20-minute rule is to make stuff that is watchable, and it certainly has paid off. Everyone has made videos. There's no videos that I couldn't sit down and watch end to end. They're awesome. They really are. So that's pretty cool. What else? Probably not very much else. We're a minute, and Joseph must learn a lot, because I think all he ever does is watch. He watches a lot of YouTube. That's just an observation, Joseph. You seem to watch everything, and that's awesome. But when you reach saturation point, we're worried we might never see you again. All this information's got to go somewhere, and when it's all full, it might just pour out the top, and you might have a breakdown. Take care, Mike. Expect videos post haste. Can't wait. I don't watch TV at all, and it's a good idea. That's a really smart thing to do, I think. We're not going to get political on here, because last time we got political, we had to kick someone off. That's terrible, and I'm sorry. I really am sorry. And it was a joke, and we didn't mean to. But yeah, soak up something that's useful to you, and not something that's detrimental to yourself, because we do tend to absorb information no matter what. And if we're absorbing it from our local paid news service, it's not doing us any good, to be honest. Speaking of which, Ted, I hope you're feeling a bit better. All you people who are convalescing and dealing with illness and etc., stuff like that, I hope you're all doing okay. I worry about you all. I get messages from people. Matt's off. I'm probably off too, I reckon. We're an hour and 20 minutes into this. Dave says TV in the US is not watchable. It's not. TV in the US is not watchable anywhere, or TV is not watchable anywhere. So, anyway, I'm going to say we're out. Thanks for tuning in. It's awesome. Get your videos in for TMT 2020. Go check out my latest video on pouring or making the pattern for this casting that I've just done. And if you're on Patreon, check out my video on machining the finished casting. And you've got to be too busy making to watch anything. That's very true, Tom. And more soon, guys and girls. Be kind to each other. Don't watch the news. And post videos. We'll see ya. I'm out.